Good morning, welcome. My name is Magdalena Bromboszcz, and right now I would like to introduce our today speakers and shortly go through the agenda. Ignacio Lacalle is with us today. He is a researcher and teaching assistant at the University Politecnica de Valencia. His role in the O-CEI project is that he's the technical, he is part of the coordination team. And today he will present the technical guidelines and applicants reference documents. Also, Antonio Montalvo is with us today. Antonio is Senior Project Manager at Funding Box, and Antonio will be presenting the open call overview for us today. And also, please welcome Paulina Jankowska, also from Funding Box. And after our speakers' presentations, we will have time for the Q&A session, during which we can ask your questions to the speakers. So once again, please enjoy the session, and speakers, the floor is yours right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdalena. I will share my screen right now. So, as Magdalena said, I'm going to focus my presentation to provide you an overview of this first open call, which is called upscaling for upscaling projects. And I will give you some details of the project itself and the open call. And then I will leave the floor to my colleague Ignacio Lacalle, who will dig in the details, the technical details of this open call. So the project, the O-CEI project, has an overarching goal, which is basically to accelerate the upscaling and uptake of innovative Cloud-Edge-IoT solutions. And for that reason, we will have two open calls during the lifetime of the project. One, which is this first one, devoted to the upscaling. And then next year, there will be a second open call devoted to the uptake. And basically, we are focusing on these domains, which are the orchestrating cross-domain data sharing, minimizing energy footprint, stimulating multi-sided marketplaces, promoting open status for visualization and interoperability. This is something that Nacho will dig in detail later on. So the plan, as I said, is to have two open calls during the project, and we are going to fund up to 32 projects, 24 in this first open call and 8 in the second one. It's also noticeable to mention that the project, the O-CEI project, is composed of 58 partners from 20 countries. So it's a quite large project. Regarding this first open call, it's a coincidence, but the call will be launched today on the 29th of September at 2 o'clock Central Eastern European time. So at the moment, from that moment on, unless there is a last-minute communication or anything that could impede the launch of the call, but in theory, you will be able to access and get the information from the call at that time, and you will be able to start applying. Important thing, who can apply? Which entities, which companies, which organizations are eligible to apply? This first open call is devoted to single entities, SMEs, and when we are talking about SMEs, which there is a very strict definition of an SME by the European Commission. I will talk that later. We will include the startups. So if you are a startup, you are also eligible to apply. Non-profit organization in this specific call are not welcome, okay? And these entities have to be located, as usual, in these kind of projects in any of the EU member states and its overseas countries and territories, or in any of the Horizon Europe associated countries. The grant amount is 100,000 euros per project, and the number of projects to be selected, as I said before, is 24, and the program, the support program, the execution of the proposal, if it is selected, will be 7 months. You can have a picture of this QR code where it points you directly to the open call microsite. So there is a number of activities that can be funded or that we are expecting to get in order to be funded. Nacho is going to go in detail in these activities and the challenges that we are expecting to get, but basically we can summarize these the two kinds of activities. One is the testing components and developing edge solutions that will extend the functionalities of the O-CEI large-scale pilots. And the other big group of activities is provided added value to any of the O-CEI pilots. Nacho will explain that in fact we have 8 pilots, so a large number of pilots, and there will be a description in detail of all of this. But basically, this is the two kinds of activities that we are looking for. There are 8 domains that I can already announce to you that need to be addressed. So when you will apply, you will be asked as a first, one of the first questions is which is the domain you are going to be addressed. There are 8 which are named here: electricity, heat pumps, energy flexibility involving 5G telco operators, electric vehicle fleet management and EV charging, electromobility, SDV and VAS, logistic value chain efficiency via energy flexibility, farm to work daily energy tracking, sustainable yield and harvesting, and smart energy city. These 8 domains actually correspond to each of the pilots. So we have 8 domains, 8 pilots. Again, this is going to be described in detail later. And each pilot will be a certain number of challenges that addressing needs, problems that these pilots are working on. So there is in total 32 challenges. You will have to select one. As a formal thing that you need to know, the deadline will be on the 19th of November. So actually it's 2 months after the starting date. So there will be 2 months where this open call will be open. And after that, after 5 o'clock Central European time, the call will be finished. We received many times questions from people submitting applications at 1 minute after the deadline, 2 minutes or 5, etc. Just to mention that this is a strict rule. So any of the applications that we receive later than this time will be discarded. The truth is that you can submit as many drafts, or you can work in drafts as many as you want, and you can make as many submissions as you like to be sure that at least one of those of your drafts is submitted. But bear this in mind. Don't wait until the very last minute. You know that also in this kind of projects, the last minutes are very crowded, and there might be some issues with the submissions. So my recommendation is always to make some submissions before, and then, of course, you can do as many changes as you like, but be sure that this is submitted before that time. The language requirement obviously is English. The data accuracy, which is, of course, we are expecting you to provide us details that are true. In any case, I can tell you that if you are selected, we are going to do a formal check of anything. For example, if you say that you are an SME, and then we realize that you are not an SME because you don't comply with the requirements from the European Commission, then, if recommendation is, please provide the data as accurate as possible. The completeness of the proposal, there is a number of sections. All of them have to be completed and fulfilled. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to be selected. There's also an European dimension that needs to be considered. This is something that is imposed by the European Commission. European dimension, meaning that your work is European-wide, or has an intention to be scalable to any of the European countries, and also that the people that is involved in the project is majority of those people are based in a European country. Conflict of interest, of course, if you are, for example, part of one of the consortium partners, you cannot apply. If you have a relationship with one of the consortium partners, the O-CEI consortium partners, meaning that you have any commercial relationship or stakeholder relationship, there is a conflict of interest. Don't worry, because all of this will be known by you beforehand, because there is a number of documents that will be provided to you to make sure that you understand what a conflict of interest or data accuracy or European dimension. All these topics are explained in the documents that are going to provide to you. Another thing that we are going to take into account is the financial stability. If you have financial problems or about to be in bankruptcy or any legal suit with any body, then of course you will have a problem to be eligible. And then also that the work is original. This seems to be obvious, but more and more recently we are finding that some of the proposals we receive are not really original. I wouldn't say copy and paste from other things, but the use of artificial intelligence tools, etc., is something that we are realizing that is more and more used, and we are going to be very, very careful of verifying that the work that you are providing is original. The evaluation process. So once you have submitted, you have reached the deadline, you will start to be evaluated. There will be an initial check done by Funding Box. And in this initial check, we are going to simply verify that you are an SME or a startup. If you are, for example, an RTO, which is a non-profit entity, immediately you will be out of the process, things like that. or you are coming from a country that is not included in the list of eligible countries, then of course we are going to remove this number. To be honest, the reality or experience is that there is a very long number of applications that are not passing this initial check. Then there will be an in-out scope screening, which is going to be done by members of the O-CEI consortium, technical partners, basically, just to check very quickly if your proposal is really in the scope of what we are looking for. Since you will receive a lot of documents where you will know exactly what we are looking for, there is no reason that you apply for something that is not in the scope, but it can happen. So we will do that screening first. And then there will be an external evaluation for those who have passed the in-out scope screening. External meaning that we are going to ask for a couple of evaluators that are not members of the consortium to make this evaluation, independent evaluators, 2 per proposal. So you will be evaluated by 2 different evaluators. And then there will be a ranking that will be made, and all of this will pass to a consensus meeting. The consensus meeting is basically where the members of the consortium, the O-CEI consortium, meet, and based on this ranking and the comments from the evaluators and things like that, there will be a list of winners or beneficiaries that is going to be made. As I said, in this first open call, there will be 24. So there will be 24 entities in the end that will be pre-selected, because in the end, they will be asked to sign, or well, to pass a formal check and to sign what we call a collaboration agreement or sub-grant agreement. The formal check, as I said before, is to verify that you are what you say you are. If you are an SME and you comply with the rules of the European Commission in that aspect, there will be no problem. So you will be asked to provide some documents, financial statements, things like that, to verify that everything is on track. And then you will sign the sub-grant agreement or the collaboration agreement, and then you will start the support program. Regarding the payment arrangements, once you have started the program is divided in 3 stages. The first one is what we call individual mentoring plan and inception. The second stage is the development of CI utilities. And the third stage is release and testing. Each stage ends with what we call a deliverable, a report that you are asked to provide for us to verify if everything is correct, fine, and in order also to, if this deliverable is approved, in order to make the payments. So in the first stage, you will be asked to provide an individual mentoring plan and a project design report. Then in the stage 2, a prototype, and in the integration report in the last stage. The duration of the stages are set here: 1 month for the first one, 3 months, and 3 months. Total 7 months. And the installments per stage are like this. So 10,000, 50,000, 40,000. And in the end, you will receive 10,000 euros. How to apply? There is a platform to apply. If you go to the QR code that I showed before, you get into this site. Let me go, instead of this, and show you in reality, this is the real world, I would say. You will get to this landing page where you will have the information, basic information about the call, and then very important, the document, the open call package of documents. The first one and most important one is the guide for applicants, where this is typical for every single project from the European Commission. And in this guide for applicants, if you click, you will get access to it. There is all the information you need to understand what are the eligibility criteria, what is the process, the evaluation process, things like that. And then what it is different or it is specific from this project, sorry? Well, is the technical guidelines. There is another document specifically talking about the technical guidelines. Nacho is going to talk to you about that later. And for you to have the best view or interpretation of what the pilots are about, because all these technical guidelines are around these pilots, and you will have to select one pilot and one of the challenges of one of these pilots. There is a complete description of each pilot in this document. So just have to click, and then you get access to these documents. There is also what we call the collaboration agreement template, so that you understand what you are going to sign if you are selected. And there is also a privacy note, which is basically an information clause for personal data processing. Okay, so if I come back to the presentation, then it is summarized somehow here, because at the bottom of this website, you will have first open call. If you click here, you will be able to apply. Now, if it is the first time you are getting to this platform, which for those of you who have already been involved in previous open calls managed by Funding Box, you will realize that this platform is new. It's not the same as the one that we used to use. You will have to sign in for the first time via Google or LinkedIn or using your email and password. This will be done only once. Once you are registered, you are signed in, the next times you will be remembered. And then when you get to the application form, there will be a certain number of questions that you need to reply to. The first thing is that you will see in some of the titles an asterisk in red. That means that this is a mandatory question. It means that if you don't fill in this question or this topic, then you cannot submit the application. If there is no asterisk, of course, you can answer or not. Then another important thing is that you will have the application form, but also a button for collaborators, because if you are several people working in the application, it doesn't have necessary to be just one person working on the application, but it can be other people. But since there is one person who has first started the process, you need to add collaborators, as many as you want, and then these collaborators will be able to get it into this application form. And for example, let's imagine that there is one person completing the excellence part, and there is another person fulfilling the impact part, etc. There are several sections. The most important ones are, of course, in terms of what you are going to be evaluated for, is the excellence, the impact, and the implementation. Actually, in the guide for applicants, you will find what we are expecting to get in the excellence, in the impact, and in the implementation. But when you get into the excellence part, you will receive, or you will see a lot of questions that you need to fulfill. And important thing is that in previous open calls, there was a limitation in the number of characters per question. Now this is has disappeared, so you can explain whatever you like. And also that in each section, important section, I would say, excellence, impact, and implementation, apart from the information you can provide in the text boxes, you will be able to upload a document, a simple document, a PDF. Imagine, for example, in the impact that you are requested or a projection, financial projection for 3 years, things like that. This, we understand that it's difficult to explain in with a certain detail in a text box, so you can include a kind of PDF with a graphic or a table that is more easily understandable. Another important section is the budget, because even if the budget is fixed, or the amount is fixed to 100,000, there is a request from the Commission that, and also because during the evaluation, we need to check if the budget the 100,000 euros you are going to use makes sense or not. You have to divide this budget in different categories, in personnel costs, in equipment costs, other direct costs, travels, etc. Once this is, I would say, considered sound and reasonable by the evaluators, then afterwards, during the project, we will never ask you to let us know what you have spent or not, or provide cost justifications, anything. It's just something that we need to know for evaluation purposes, okay? So this is basically another important thing compared to previous our previous platform, is that you can always save drafts, so you can fulfill any section, and you know in the other versions we had to fulfill the complete version to be able to save a draft. Here, no, it's always possible to do it, and then there is also a button to submit the application. Okay, you can submit, as I said before, as many applications. I mean, as many versions of the applications as you like. And in case you are working, imagine that you say, okay, I would like to work with an application to address a challenge in this pilot and another challenge in another pilot. This is completely possible. You can submit as many applications as you like, but bearing in mind that only one could be eventually funded, the highest ranked one. You cannot be funded for 2 applications, for example. And then, of course, during the process, during these 2 months, there will be a number of channels at your disposal to help you. One is the Discord help desk space. You have the QR code here, and also you can send us an email to this address, support@OCEI-OCI.eu. There will be other webinars. We have already set up a webinar on the 17th of October, but it might be another one when the call is closer to an end. And that's it for my side. So I think that if you have any questions, we can answer them in the Q&A session. And now I give the floor to Nacho, who is going to explain you in more detail all the technical aspects of the call. Thank you.
First of all, Antonio, thank you very much for your fantastic presentation and introduction of what the O-CEI open calls are about, how they are structured, and most important of all, how you can apply and which are the steps that will be followed so that you can officially and formally submit your application. Now, as a representative of the O-CEI Consortium Technical and Coordination Team, I just want to give you an overview of the project in general, to give you some hints of what you need to pay attention to in order to submit your application and submit a quality one, and filling the technical requirements that need to be considered when elaborating your proposal. I will also give you an overview of which are our pilots, because you will need to stick to one of their expressed challenges that are all available in the spaces that Antonio explained to you. And as a comment, linking with the last slide from my colleague, we are always at your disposal at the indicated channels, so that basically you will be able to reach out to us via email and in Discord, and we will try to solve all your questions when you have them. So please let me give you some overview of what our project is, in case you are not yet familiarized with it. O-CEI is an innovation action funded by the European Commission under the topic Horizon Cluster 4 Data 2024-03, piloting the emerging smart IoT platforms and decentralized intelligence. We have a total budget of 31 million euros approx. Out of those, the contribution from the European Union is slightly over 23 million euros. So it's a big project. We are 58 partners from 20 different countries. So basically we are covering most of the continent's geographical diversity, which give us a global understanding and global overview of what is the status of energy flexibility, edge computing, resources orchestration, distribution of workloads across heterogeneous continuums of computing that can be scattered across a chain of distributed energy resources or close to them, with the global perspective of trying to make more easy or creating the backbone for allowing processing of data happen in a distributed way that is connected to some extent to the energy flexibility, meaning having different sources of energy, renewable energy sources among others, and how to compute them properly to make the whole system more optimized and efficient, thanks to novel technologies that we call the Cloud-Edge-IoT utilities. The project will span 3.5 years. It started early this year, in 1st of January of 2025, and it is expected to last till June 2028. Within our structure of the project, we have scheduled 2 rounds of open calls, which I will not dig into nature because it has been already widely explained by my colleague Antonio. But in total, we have reserved 4 million euros for cascade funding, for funding financial support to third parties, which in practice would be the successful applicants to our 2 rounds of open calls. Being this one, the one opening today, the first of those. Each of those has a specific nature, has its own conditions, and what you must pay attention to right now is to how the first one is structured and how the first one needs to be tackled. And this is what I'm going to explain to you. But before, I wanted just to give you an overview of what it's important for us in terms of mindset and conceptual pillars in our project that needs to be mimicked and needs to be resembled as well in your applications, which is data, having as much as data as possible, processing it in a distributed way, establishing communication network flows, putting security on top of it, and basically having a trusted data processing environment. This is a thing that we are pushing for in all our pilots, and you should have this in mind when preparing your proposal. Also, openness. We have a clear commitment with open source. One of our partners in the consortium is Eclipse, which is an Canadian and European-based open source entity that promotes the openness of our results and the utilization of open source technologies, and so that we enable the replication for the community. This is a thing you should also bear in mind when preparing your proposal. Reusing open solutions, publishing your results, making your software available, etc. And finally, success. The main goal, one of the main goals for a project is to, based on relevant use cases in large scale in different domains, showcase and demonstrate that the utilization of these novel technologies that span a wide range of different types of technologies, ranging from cybersecurity, AI, DLT, data processing, resource orchestration, resource registry, IoT deployment, etc., can be easily deployed, easily transferred, easily employed across different domains, so that we demonstrate success cases that set up the foundations and pave the way for the future easier and more straightforward adoption of such technologies. In general, in the project, we have 6 key exploitable results that we are planning to deliver. This is part of our commitment of our description of action with the European Commission and can be enumerated as follows. A data sharing platform that would basically be able to capture information about the computing distributed in an energy grid or an energy case. So we are able to share this among different actors that are involved in the value chain to extract value from and exploit upon. We will develop and we will extend a cross-domain continuum ontology. Continuum meaning this wide variety of heterogeneous computing resources that will be placed across a continuum, ranging from IoT to far edge, on-premise, cloud. All of these should be transferred, should be visible across different actors, across a whole platform. So it's imperative to deliver a way of representing it. What you cannot represent in a data format, in a data model properly designed, cannot be leveraged. So one of our goals is to extend previously delivered cross-domain ontologies. Then a federated marketplace that will be multi-stakeholder, multi-tenant, and pan-European, so that at first partners of our consortium will be able to post information about their use cases, their successful solutions, their tools, their data, so that basically we create a short time of catalog to discover, select, and allow installation of technologies across such a computing continuum. We are also devoting time to deliver pre-normative standards. We are a lot of partners that are involved in different type of SDOs, such as ISO, O-CEI, I2T, IEEE, among others. And in particular, we have one partner named Trialog that leads our way there in our involvement in these SDOs. Also, since I discussed with you that we plan to extend and adopt the success possibility of these technologies, and adoption methodology is also prominently needed so that it's easier to deploy what we are doing. This is also important to you, since we require that everything is well documented and well explained in order how to transfer it and to be usable across different domains and also beyond the duration of the project. And finally, of course, not end up with all this investment from the European Commission in a drawer, but rather helping and fostering the business exploitation of the results by our partners, especially by our stakeholders in the 8 large-scale pilots. And talking about that, in the consortium, we have 8 large-scale pilots that I will talk about of them later, that focus in different domains, some of them overlapping, but as you can see here in this map, they are located well all across the geography of our continent, and all of them plan to, apart from focusing on their own goals, also to establish a network of sharing data, software utilities, models, etc., So to create a homogeneous environment based on the marketplace that I mentioned that can help the different goals of our pilots. Moving to more technical overview, you should bear in mind, and this is also published on our website, that O-CEI is orbiting around three main technical concepts, which is a platform, meaning some software that is installed that performs certain operations and that follows a work that has been done by the Meta operating system cluster of projects that are finalizing this year, which together defined a pre-normative standard, ISO IC SC41 JTC1, that basically defined an architecture of how different components, technological components, are structured in different building blocks, namely security, trust, data management, research management, AI, orchestration, network, and monitoring and observability, so that our platform would incorporate this mindset and these rules from these results from Task Force 3 of EU Cloud-Edge-IoT previous efforts into an implementation that all pilots will commit to. Another key aspect that we have in our project are what we call the blueprints, which are a structured deployment process that starts with the intentful declaration of a target of what can be accomplished, starting from a very concrete objective of deployment in a pilot, for instance, consumer-side energy optimization based on smart metering data, and departing from that, once certain instructions are declared, this creates somehow a guide that it's later rolled out and materialized with specific technologies, following strategic decisions to make and synergies to establish that end up becoming an actual deployment of technologies in a specific infrastructure to meet the target declaration out of that. So it's a rolling out process starting from a clear declaration that then becomes an actual technological deployment. And we will guide you in case that it will be needed, that you will explore or interact with one of these blueprints and how to do it once you are granted of our project. And then we have what I already mentioned before, a federated marketplace, which aims at being a catalog of solutions, use cases, assets, AI models, software utilities, metadata, interoperable assets that can be discovered, shared, and acquired by different stakeholders. And as you can see here in this small screenshot, it's based on an already existing open source technology promoted by Fireware. It's Fireware BAE. Good. So once these technological baselines have been established, we would like to warn you and instruct you on what are the technical conditions that you must meet. Antonio has already outlined this, but I would like to stop a bit more on those. First, what you need to do is to develop a technological solution. We don't want reports, just reports. We don't want just surveys. We don't want market studies. We are not funding those type of results or developments. We want software, hardware, technological development, testing of open source components to specific extents. Okay? And there's one key aspect here that is a go, no go, that you need to provide added value to one of our pilots, extending our functionalities, extending your functionalities, generating from the scratch a specific solution. But you need to make sure that you are provided an added value to our O-CEI pilots. And you might ask yourselves, how do I know I am providing an added value to these pilots? And I will answer this question later, but just to anticipate it, the pilots in our consortium have already made an effort to identify potential gaps or improvements or wish to that could guide you in which solutions you could deliver and you could develop in your proposals. So I will dig deep later on this thing about the challenges that they have defined. Also, another condition that is explained in the technical guidelines is that once you deliver your solution, you will need to accept that it is posted into our federated marketplace that I mentioned. What does this mean? At least it means a description of your solution, description of instructions, meaning metadata description of it, so that it is visible in our marketplace, that will be visible to our partners and optatively to the wide public as well. You will need to fill some templates and adjust yourself in terms of description to our requirements of a template. So we recommend that you foresee this action and reserve some space in your work plan to concord and to conform with this action. And another condition that you must bear in mind is that you must ensure reaching a technological readiness level, a TRL of 6 to 7, expecting the testing or validation in an operative environment. Here, I would also like to say one thing, that is, not always will be possible to make the operational integration in the infrastructure of our pilots because they might be at different stages of maturity, but you shall envision, regardless of the availability or not, how you are reaching this TRL 6 and TRL 7 or TRL 7. Good. Okay. So advancing a bit more, what is that you can develop? Or if I said you cannot make market studies, surveys, just reports, what is what we are expecting? Well, a whole bunch of things might be acceptable. Here you have a list that I'm not going to go through in detail because you have it in the technical guidelines, but in essence, such as virtualized application of platforms, integration or customization of externally owned products and systems, meaning your own products and systems, you can customize them and test them and prove that they are providing added value to our pilots, smart objects, decentralized identification software tools, AI models, AI services, AI flows, smart networking components, smart devices, meaning hardware that might be of utility or of use in energy distributed environment, synthetic data generators or simulators, cybersecurity tool, open solutions, in general, everything that has, that is technologically applicable to our project and pilots. And what is specifically interesting for you to understand is that to cover the requirement of providing added value to our pilots, in this link that has already been shown by Antonio, you can also access it by this QR, you have certain documents, such as the guide for applicants, explained before, the technical guidelines, and the pilot's contextualization, okay, which is here, okay? You would visit this page and you will find this. And here you could visit the different documents to understand what is requested or required by our pilots and what you can do. In all of them, if you visit the different pages for the pilots, these have been created with the intention of contextualizing you to our pilots, explaining what they are, what are their goals, who is participating, which are the remarkable aspects, which is the technical setup and the current technical setup of these pilots, okay, to understand which are the components, the schemas, the infrastructure available, what can be done, what should be expected, what are they doing in their tracks, in their pilots, and after that, also information about which interfaces they have, which type of technologies they use, so that you are sure that you are being compliant from the get-go, from the beginning, and also some technical schemas and technological scenarios that you can start envisaging where your solution could fit. But most importantly, here in each of the pilots, you have the challenges defined. These challenges are summarized here and extended in the technical guidelines, which I will show later. And basically they explain what they would like you to deliver as a challenge that would, of course, make sure that you are fitting an added value concept. For each of them, each pilot has a number of challenges. And for each of them, you have a short description and a hint of what is the type of solution that they expect. As you see here, there are a lot of things that you could do, and we have tried to particularize per each of the challenges what we would be looking for. Okay, here, for instance, AI ML model services or human-machine interfaces. Good. And in each pilot, you have this description and the main solution type that it's sought, that it's looked for here. Okay. The different pilots have different number of challenges, and we can discuss about them, or you can take a look at them, are available in this website or application. So you are, of course, encouraged and requested to read this in detail. But a relevant thing also to discuss here and to let you know is that you have two options in every pilot. Either you directly tackle or point towards one of these challenges, for instance, virtualized voltage control for smart grids. You think you can provide and cover this challenge, it's perfect. But another option is in all pilots, in case you think you could provide added value, but none of these challenges really suit your case, you are always invited to prepare your application to fit whatever you believe could be addressed in a more open way. So let's say that you think that a blockchain solution or automation, DevOps software solution here could clearly provide added value to this pilot, but it's not listed in the challenges, and you still would like to address this domain, okay, to address the domain of energy grid, residential, and tertiary power demand, you can always tackle an open challenge, describing, of course, properly in the application form what you are doing. So this is the case for all the pilots. We have created one document per each of our 8 pilots. You can visit them and realize that the structure is the same. A summary to introduce you to what pilots do and what they aim for in their own goals, their currently technical setup, the technologies that they use, the standards that they stick to, and some schemas to understand how they work, then a list of challenges that you can directly tackle, and finally, the possibility to tackle a more open global challenge as per your choice, per pilot. Here you can see the number 2, the number 3 is the same, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you should select which of the domains fit you better per your business or per your intentions, understand the pilot, understand what they're trying to do, realize which are the challenges they would like you to address, and then decide and then go to the platform of application and submit your application. So these are documents that you should pay attention to. And finally, there is one condensed document, which is the technical guidelines here that you can visit, that basically digs deeper into what I have already introduced to you. For instance, what are the technical requirements? What is our project? What are the technical requirements? What you need to do? Which type of solutions we're accepting? And finally, explains in a bit more detail the context of the pilots and the challenges. And the challenges here and a bit more elaborated. What exactly would be expected? Which would be the main solution type? Which is the preferred technologies from the Cloud-Edge-IoT stack that we would be envisioning or expecting you to deliver? How you could narrate, how could you establish a narrative on how this provides an added value to the pilot that you selected? The type of energy-related assets that are intertwined in those challenges, and how the distribution, the computing, the decentralized computing, the edge component, the edge nature of the challenge is structured. So you will see that per each pilot, you have a series of challenges that are all well documented in the summary per pilot, and then here in a more condensed way. So it's now up to you to investigate, see them, read them properly, and then decide on how you plan to elaborate your proposal to tackle one of these challenges. Of course, as I said above, apart from the challenges, you always have the global challenge per pilot. Okay? Very good. So having said that, I just want now to spend some minutes. I don't know how we are in timing, Antonio and Magdalena, because I cannot see the time. Huh?
It's almost 11, but we have time.
Okay, it's 11. Okay, very good. So let me just devote a couple minutes to contextualize you to our 8 pilots. I will not dig deep since you have plenty of documentation there to explore it. I just want to give you some hints of what each pilot is about. And after that, we will open a session of questions and answers so that you can ask whatever questions you might have. So our first pilot is composed of 3 scenarios and orbits around energy flexibility, where different geographical areas with different constraints are tackled. There is one scenario in Ireland, in Limerick, which is focused on households and different type of buildings and local grids for specific conditions, where thousands of households and commercial buildings will exist, and we plan to, of course, deliver technology and intelligence across all this continuum on the energy grid. There is one on France, in which we have a concept site for replication in, departing from a France location hosted by EDF. This will be extended to other places. Okay. Please hold on a second. Excuse me. Good. Then in Croatia, in the Kirk Island, also there is a case in which we have a mix of energy, solar photovoltaic panels, local wind farm, and heat pumps. And the remarkable aspects is the use of smart technologies for peer-to-peer and energy trading, different regulations, different SDOs, etc. Please allow me 1 second. Please. Okay, now I'm here again, sorry. Good, so this is the context of our pilot number 1. It has 3 scenarios and everything revolves around intelligence over the distributed energy grid. Are you still hearing me? Yeah, I think so, good. Then we have a second pilot, which is pilot number 2, which is related to electromobility and mobility and urban mobility in the area of Timișoara in Romania, which is participated by Continental, Ertico, and Phoenix Network, which has a goal to establish a sustainable vehicle as a software, meaning delivering technologies on the cars, on the ECU of the cars, to engage ADAS functions but also local depots and the cloud, so that computing of information of these cars about the environment, about the carbon emission reduction, and a lot of things related to this fleet of cars can be leveraged and can be better done in a real environment with CEI technologies. Remarkable aspects here is the goal of creating opportunities for the OEMs to monetize new digital services, and the cars that are in the pilot are equipped with many IoT sensing capacities, ADAS functions, etc. You have more information in the technical guidance. The energy mix here is vehicle-to-grid integration and grid optimization. Pilot number 3, which takes place in Austria, has as partners AVL, Post as an energy steiermark, and what it basically plans is that a Post service of Austria has a number of electric vans for delivering post across the country. It also has more than 2,800 EV chargers located across the geography of the country. And what we plan to do is to equip computing both in the chargers, both in the vehicles and in distributed computing locations such as the cloud, to create more optimized charging scheduling depending on the routes, depending on the impact, analyzing and predicting different type of concepts such as weather conditions, pricing of energy, the delivery routes of these vans, and with the goal of establishing a vehicle-to-grid charge and grid-to-vehicle recharge and routes adaptation, so that the lifespan of these vehicles is also optimized. The EV chargers are also powered by photovoltaic panels, as you can see in the picture, so the energy mix is also flexible and looks for energy flexibility. Pilot number 4 is contextualized in the island of Malta. There we have the local energy operator in Malta. We have the port terminal of Malta, hosted or owned by CMA CGM. And the scenario envisions the computing of information in the cranes of the pilot, in the EV chargers depot of the different electric cranes that exist, and the integration of data of the arrival of vessels that require filling, recharging, and offshore supply, so that once this is going to happen, the whole electricity grid of the island can be properly adapted, because this is a very, very intensive activity when vessels are visiting the island and overtake a lot of the load that require to feed actually these vessels that might create and creates now interruptions and issues in the island. So with the goal of moving also from a heavily fossil fuel-based sector to more renewable energy paradigm and creating an energy grid digital mirror to prevent and protect before these things happen. And our pilot number 5, is contextualized in terms of space in Cyprus, and in particular in a dairy farm where cows are produce milk and other byproducts such as halloumi cheese. And the goal is to basically create a dynamic edge computing environment where different aspects related to the energy, such as the heating, the cooling, the HVAC, the required power for the production line machines for producing this result, this product, intertwine among themselves, and the optimization of the whole utilization, the whole demand, and the adjustment of this consumption to the required demand of the different operations, while taking a look at sustainability for the quality of the final product and the heat stress suffered by the animals, and among other aspects that are present in this type of industry. Here, Haralambidis Christis is the main stakeholder, and also Green Supply Chain and Enviodiagnostics will apply different energy sources and different models to adapt to the energy demand, trying to also reduce animals' heat stress. Pilot number 6 of our project is contextualized at the northern area of Spain, in the Basque Country, and different companies that own fields, lands, tractors, and innovative applications want to take advantage of distributed computing to improve both the on-field operations and correlate that with the requirements of recharging of these electric vehicle tractors, electric tractors. So all considered taking into account the seasonalities, the state of the actual yielding and production of the field, and the different paths, routes, and charging schedules that must be performed by the tractors, with local computing on the vehicle, on premises and in the cloud, try to make the whole process more efficient and minimizing the downtime required by the different operations. Our pilot number 7 intertwines two fields, which are 5G technologies for processes that require a lot of high, very, very high bandwidth and very, very reduced latency, because these operate on private EV charging operators that offer services to private and public clients that require or rent services of the go to recharge their electric vehicles. In order to do this properly across several locations, a lot of network issues appear that require low latency, such as who should be charging what, and modeling these different duration of batteries at different capacities can create a better and more optimized for the owner of these chargers operations. Also, it's very focused, since this is a company that might be exposed to cyber attacks, since this is a growing field of interest for cyber vulnerabilities. We are devoting a lot of efforts also to protect these infrastructures. And last but not least, we have a pilot number 8 that also has different scenarios, but all are contextualized to Switzerland, to different areas, mostly to the areas around Fribourg, Genève, and the Val d'Anivier, which is a ski station, and orbits around the dynamic, the flexibility in terms of energy demand and production for different type of purposes, such as very busy offices and building areas, a ski station itself, which is very seasonal and has a specific energy requirements, and more distributed industrial area that has different type of requirements. The goal is to permeate these scenarios with innovative energy, cloud edge computing, and global resource orchestration technologies, so that these demonstrate that the production can meet the demand in a flexible way from different energy sources, always considering the social acceptability of the solutions, which is a very relevant and very concerning aspect right now about how the both worlds blend, the computing world and the energy grid and energy mix in general. So I sincerely hope that with this, we have been able to provide you an overview of what our pilots, of what are the conditions, what you need to pay attention to, what documents you should really carefully read before applying, and therefore you can create solid proposals pointing towards the opportunity of open source. Again, let me reinforce the message that we are at your disposal at different channels from now till the moment that the open call will close on 19th of November. And yeah, we are here and you can reach out at any moment for any kind of question. Thank you. I think I stopped sharing the screen right now. So the floor is back to you, Magdalena.
Yes. Thank you so much, speakers, for your presentations. And now is the time for the Q&A session. And I believe that we already have 2 questions on our chat. And the first one is this one: can we submit separately for multiple challenges or pilots?
I think this is for me, and I think you can submit an application for pilot 1 challenge 1, and for pilot 1 challenge 4, and for pilot 3 challenge. The only thing is that you cannot be selected for more than one. But only one of your applications would eventually be selected. That's the only constraint.
Okay, I am seeing one question in the chat that I think I can address by Zisis Flocas. Hello, Zisis. Is deploying the solution on the edge a strict requirement? Not really. If your solution only works on the cloud, okay, that could be acceptable as long as it provides the added value and as long as it really fits with the idea of the Cloud-Edge-IoT. So it's not a strict requirement, but you should be very careful on how this fits in a distributed computing continuum scenarios, which basically are all of our pilots.
Okay, dear Ignacio and Antonio, I lost my connection for a while and I can see the questions on chat. Can you help me if you can see if there is another question right now? Because I can see the chat.
No, I think we have already answered the two questions that were in the chat, Magdalena.
Okay, thank you.
I think now it would be the moment for opening the room for open questions if any participant wants to do so.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so if you have any question, we are here for you.
It can be either through the chat or through, you can raise your hand. I believe they can raise your hand.
Yes, of course.
In the meantime, I would like to highlight that it is really highly recommended to read in detail all the documents before starting the application. And because there is a lot of information and I think all the details are there. And especially if you are going to ask us something through the help desk or through the support email, we would really appreciate that these documents are read in detail. I would say that most of the information is there. We understand that there might be some questions regarding the application form because it is something that maybe you are not used to utilize. But yeah, we are here to help anytime. And yeah.
Okay, maybe let's wait a few more minutes. Maybe you will have another question for our experts.
Also something that I haven't mentioned.
Okay, now we have one. When do you expect the first grant?
Yes.
Yes, when do you expect the first grants to be awarded and M1 payments to be executed?
So the deadline for the submission of applications is the 19th of September, of November. And then the evaluation process will start. And after that, there is a consensus meeting, as I explained. So, and after that, there is a formal check that needs to be done, plus the subgrant agreement signature. So we can think about 3 months in total. So I would say that by the beginning of February, that could be starting. And in any case, the first grant to be awarded, then milestone 1 payments. So once you start, let's suppose that you start on the 1st of February, then you have 1 month to do this first milestone, the first stage, which is individual mentoring plan. Individual mentoring plan, you are going to work together with your mentors. And it is foreseen, as I showed in a table, that this is completed in month 1, so the first month. And after that, there will be an evaluation of this deliverable, an internal evaluation or assessment. Let's say that it can take 1 month more to be paid, to receive the first payment.
Yeah, I think a tentative time of starting with the project might be February, and for getting the first payment would be around April, I could say. 2026.
There is also a question, Magdalena, I think I can answer. Will you be providing the document links, perhaps by email or uploaded on the website? If you are referring to the documents Nacho and me had mentioned, the guide for applicants, the technical guidelines, etc., these links, of course, are included in the website, so in the site. So you click into the pilot 1 description, for example, and you get immediately access to the document. And this document, of course, you can download it. And if you are talking about other kind of documents, maybe you can be more specific. But the documents are already there. You can have access right away. So please, Steve, Zarafa, if there is something different that you were referring to, you were referring to the technical ones. Yes, they are there. They are there.
Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, Magdalena, we can kindly ask the attendees to reach out to us via the mentioned channels if they need specific things. And then we will have another webinar on 17th of October. So that's it from my side.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much once again for joining us. Please remember to follow our social media, O-CEI social media and the Funding Box social media, because the recording will be available there. And thank you so much for today's sessions, and see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.